All right. Hey, Jim Toscano here. I'm going to play a track. And then after the track, then we're going to talk about what is happening tonight. So this is a track from Roger Street Freeman's new album, Rise. And I'm going to play a little brush tune. All right. Hey, Jim Toscano here. I'm going to play a track. And then after the track, then we're going to talk about what is happening tonight. So this is a track from Roger Street Freeman's new album, Rise. And I'm going to play a little brush tune. Oh, no. So we have, right, hey, Jim Toscano here. I'm hearing my playback. And then after the track, then we're going to talk about what is happening tonight. So this is a track from Roger Street Freeman's new album, Rise. 1 second, guys. And I'm going to play a little. We're having a little playback issue. This is pretty funny. Oh, no. So we have, right. Video capture. Yeah, I'm not sure why that was happening. I was hearing the playback of what I'm doing. So, man, you know, just some funny things happening lately. I don't know why that happened. We tested this earlier. We were doing pretty good. We had a great live stream test. No issues. And now capture. There's Ghost in the Machine. Yeah, I'm not sure why that was happening. I was hearing the playback of what I'm doing. So, man, you know, just some funny things happening lately. I don't know why that happened. I got it. Sorry, guys. I got it figured out. Crazy. My apologies. Can we start over? Can we just start the show over? Is that okay? Can we start over? So basically, here's the deal. I'm going to do a quick little fix. And then as soon as that's done, we'll see what the deal is. Give me a second here. Yes, indeed. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen. Okay. There we go. Oh, boy. Off to a great start tonight. Sorry, Matthew. All right, guys. So, my apologies. I just had a very strange faux pas happen that I will make a note of. I'm back. I'm going to play the track now, and then we're going to chat. All right, here we go. For real.
He's lying on the couch watching the flat screen. She's between the dishes and the laundry. The kids are running around, finding it hard to settle down. While she wonders if this is what she'd settled for. She's staring at the back door as she's folding. With each fold she feels the trap her life has woven. She can't see leaving now, cause she just can't get around. How it's gonna look if this home gets broken. The same old day by day, 2 by 2's always over and over again. All at once, 2 stars collide, and bit by bit the fire dies. So side by side, it ain't much like it was way back when. I wonder why we do it over and over again. All these nights it feels like they've grown complacent. And 2 hearts that were once entwined are now only adjacent. But in between the twists and turns, they still feel those old embers burn. And when it comes right down to it, neither would replace it. It's the same old day by day, 2 by 2 we make our way over and over again. All at once, 2 stars collide, bit by bit the flames subside. So side by side, don't feel like it did way back when. Still ain't no need to it over and over again. And morning comes with the same old sun. Toast gets buttered and they're on the run. A hug and a kiss and a smile, and a glance from eye to eye that says we made it another mile. It's the same old day by day, but it's that same old that we crave over and over again. All at once, 2 stars collide, and in love's bright and blinding light, side by side we build a life, and the story never ends. That is why we do it. That is why we do it. Cannot wait to do it over
Right, all right. Well, by the way, you know what happened? I had I had YouTube open on a screen in my room somewhere. So YouTube was playing back the stream. So of course we're hearing this giant delay from the time it went out of Zoom, out of OBS into YouTube and then back to me. And I didn't know that was there. It was buried under one of my windows. So I apologize. That's a first. Probably not the last of many little faux pas that happen in this little thing. So listen, here's the deal. Tonight I'm doing one of my rhythm section workshops or live streams. And so tonight I have a special guest, a really good friend of mine, and a great bass player named Matthew Schneider, who plays bass with me in Roger Street Freeman's band. We've done a couple records together. We've done some sessions together. We've done some touring and some playing live together. So, and, you know, it's rare. You know, there's a few bass players in my life that I feel like I have this really deep connection with. And you don't always find that. Like, I will tell you, I've played with a lot of bass players since I was a little kid. And, you know, throughout the years, and there's only a handful that you go like, man, that guy gets it. Like, that guy connects. And this is one of those guys. So I'm going to bring in my my Zoom guest, Matthew Schneider, and we'll talk about his resume in a little while. I'm going to bring him in right now. Here is Matthew Schneider with me from Seacliff, New York. Matthew, take it away.
Hey, Jim. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I absolutely feel the same way about you. Like, it's like family. We play together. It's like family.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, it's sort of, you know, it's rare you find those sort of marriages between, you know, what you play as a drummer and what you play as a bass player. And like I said, there's a handful. I featured one of my other guys, Rob Glick, recently, who I've been playing with since I'm a kid. And we do a thing together. And but you and I have been working together for a bunch of years now. And it's been really, really incredible. Plus, Matthew's played in my book on some tracks and stuff, so he's in here.
That opening, that track in the opening credits.
Yeah, the track in the opening credits. Yeah. We did this the fun little 6/8 sort of Afro-Cuban thing, and we got to play that at the book release party together. So that was super fun. Again, you know, my apologies on the opening. That was pretty insane. I really had no idea how that was happening because I didn't have the window open. And I have like 5 monitors. And anybody who's been in my studio knows there's like 5 monitors connected to this computer. And it was just buried on one of the monitors. Very strange. Okay. So, you know, kind of the idea tonight is that you and I are going to rap about working together and, you know, putting together bass and drum tracks on Roger's last album, Rise, and kind of what that process was and working with a producer. Different producers that we've worked with, right, over the years, which has been an interesting thing. And, you know, some self-producing along the way. But just real quick, Seacliff, New York, right? 2 square miles, right?
1 square mile.
1 square mile. So Seacliff, New
Full
York
of musicians.
is the north shore of Long Island, right? Which is, it's close to, it's funny, I have this little graphic here, but it's close to like...
We're near like Glen Cove. Glen Cove is the nearest place, between Glen Cove and Port Washington.
Right. So they say it's kind of located within the town of Oyster Bay in Nassau County, right?
Right.
But it's, you know, Seacliff is this amazing little nook, I like to call it. You know, it's like up on a beautiful hill, kind of, there's a cliff. It's looking over the sea, just like it says, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's really a beautiful place. And like Matthew said, it's chock full of musicians. Which is crazy, right? I mean, it's like in 1 square mile, you can't walk down the street without tripping over another musician, right?
I've been here 16 years, and I regularly keep meeting new people who are full-time musicians, you know, who have careers, you know.
Right. It's such a
it's like, how do I not know you? You know, they've been here for years. You know?
Yeah, right. How do I not know you? And there's only 1 mile of territory.
That's it.
And you're still meeting new people. And you know, the other cool thing is that you guys have some cool music venues there, right? So
yes, still partners. It's run by a great drummer, Dan Roth.
Right. Yeah.
The Metropolitan Bistro has music, really awesome. There's a few spots here.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I've done your jazz gig there with you a few
Yeah.
times, and we've also played Still Partners a bunch of times. We've also played, what's the little Seacliff?
It used to be called it was Roots, and then the Oak Room.
The Oak Room. Yeah, yeah. We've played the Oak Room,
yeah,
which is the tiniest venue ever.
Right.
And
Right.
we jam ourselves into the corner of that place. You and Matt and Frank and I and Roger, like in this little corner, or sometimes just you, I, and us and Frank, right, doing his thing. So I just real quick before I jump in, because we're gonna dig into it in a minute. So you graduated from Oberlin Conservatory with your bachelor's. Then you went to Purchase College Conservatory of Music for your master's, and the Boston Graduate School of Psychoanalysis.
Wow, you did homework on me.
So now, okay, so music, forget it, I'm going psychoanalysis. Boop. While still playing music.
Yeah, I did them concurrently.
You did it at the same time. Like, how the heck did that happen? And what made you decide to go that route?
I don't know that I really decided. I just kind of did it. It was something I was interested in, and it just kept going deeper and deeper. And then, years later, I ended up finishing a degree. I didn't know if I really wanted to do that professionally, but I use it in my teaching.
Yes.
I say that it has really been hugely valuable, that training, because psychoanalysis is the study of what's called transference and resistance, right? Resistance is how we put off the analyst in the session, right? Well, students do that with teachers all the time. I didn't practice. I didn't do that. That's all resistance. I didn't show up. It's summertime. I went to the beach. I didn't come to my lesson today. All that's resistance. So we explore it in the lesson, in the same way a therapist would explore it in a psychoanalytic session.
I always say, like, drum lessons are half drumming or less, half therapy. It really becomes therapy sessions, right? Because
Absolutely.
it's I think music lessons are a safe space. I mean, it depends on the teacher, I guess. I had a couple of psychopaths that I studied with, but like
that movie, the guy.
Yeah, exactly. But except for like in Whiplash, where they're throwing metal chairs across the room at you.
Right.
But if you think about it, it's a safe space. If you're lucky enough to have students that trust you and you have that relationship that you can actually talk about life and hash some stuff out through music, that's a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely. Learning also could be very uncomfortable. I mean, you have a student. I think kids are a little more accustomed to this, and it doesn't freak them out so much. But for adults, it's really hard. It's really hard to feel stupid. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Especially as an adult, right? You develop your career, you develop the things you're good at, and you're good at it, and suddenly it's like, I have no idea what to do with this instrument, and that's a really emotionally difficult thing to do. And I think for even for anybody learning something new, it's challenging, because this is not these skills are not something that happens quickly. This is a long-term investment of years.
Yeah, for sure.
To get that mastery, and that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. And I will say that what I say to students, and including myself, I mean, I still study. I'm a student of this instrument, a lifetime student of this instrument is what I say.
Absolutely.
But I always tell people, you can't just focus 100% on what your end goal is, or you will go out of your mind. So enjoy the process. Learning, the process of learning this stuff shouldn't be a frustration and a thing that leads you to like wanting to toss your instruments into the ocean. Like, I've heard people go like, man, I went to see like, Simon Phillips play, and after I watched, I just wanted to burn my drum set. And I'm like, yeah, but that's fuel, man. It's like, you should be inspired to go like, man, maybe I'll never reach that level of proficiency, but I'm going to sure have a good time trying. right? So
Right.
that's kind of what
about-
it's all about, right?
About showing up every day. I mean, I've heard you talk about that on the road and stuff all the time. I mean, honestly, you've inspired me a lot that way too. To keep shedding myself, keep practicing.
I've had people like,
Yeah.
we had this discussion the other day, but like people go like, dude, like, do you ever put the pad away? And I'm like,
right.
no. Vincent LaRusso will tell you, like 2
right.
o'clock in the morning, I'm tapping on the pad, and he's like, dude, come on, enough with the pad already.
We were playing in LA a few years back, and we're on Venice Beach, and it's Venice Beach. We're all chilling out. The other band, everyone's riding bikes. Jim's on a bench playing with his drum pad, like all afternoon.
I can't help myself.
And that is why Jim Toscano is Jim Toscano.
There it is. So, so I could go a little deeper in the resume, but I think what we should do at this point, well, one thing I want to do is I want to check the chat real quick and I'm sure that the whole beginning of the chat is going to be, I can't hear you. Oh, what is happening? There's a loop. What is it? Because I kind of blew the opening. But let me check the chat. I did set up like sort of a Zoom with chat window, and I'm not sure. Yeah, it does work. It's too far away for me to read, but I'm hearing, sounds great. I'm hearing that there was feedback earlier. It's happening again. What's up, Jim? All right, so I think we're in the clear. I'm not really going to worry about it for the moment. So I would like to kind of talk about this record. So, and by the way, that first track, Over and Over, it's sort of, I was really distracted and freaked out by things not going right. But that's sort of a really minimalist tune, right, for us to do. But it's about the song. Like, we're not bringing, there are some tunes where obviously, we're bringing like full on, let's bring everything we got, right?
Right. The big guns, yeah.
But like in this record, there's a lot of subtlety where it's really about what we're not playing that's going to make it happen some of the time. And like that tune, you and I, and this is mostly, I think we were coming up with this stuff, but like leaving a lot of the pulse out, right? So like,
right. I was playing whole notes at this point.
Right, so whole notes through that whole top of the tune, right?
Footballs, yeah.
And then you and I would just start dropping in like one extra note here, one extra note there, and sort of build from there. And then obviously full on 2-beat, right, for the choruses.
Right.
I shouldn't say full on, but pretty subtle.
Only for the
2-beat.
first half.
Yeah,
and then it released, But what's interesting about this, I was listening to the song as you were playing, and really like the choices we made were really about the lyric.
Right.
And the structure of the tune, right? So like the opening, the whole song is like a pad, the whole thing is kind of has this, it's just like fog, like a layer, like a padding. Right. And you hear all the stuff on top, all the slide guitar and the pedal steel and all that, everything is like kind of long. And the song is about this most intimate relationship, about over and over again, this man and woman are going through life, they have kids and all the difficult stuff and all that. Sometimes you just want to get out of it, but we despite it all, we're still here, we still keep going.
Right.
And so there's places where that tension comes up a little bit more, and that kind of in the lyric, and we're matching that rhythmically.
Yeah, for sure.
And as well as sort of something we could talk about in every one of these songs is shaping the structure.
Right.
Something
for sure.
different happens at the bridge, Yeah.
And these kind of tunes too, like I always tell drummers, it's like go out and ask the songwriter, whoever you're working with, get the lyrics. You should be reading the lyrics when you go to do a track, I think. Because if you understand the story, if you believe it, I think what you bring to the table is more honest, It's like if you don't really know the story and you're just thinking like a drummer.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Songwriter.
You got to think like from the songwriter's perspective, right?
Right.
And then, like you said, in the bridge, I just, what's funny is I kept that 2 feel on the hi-hat and they just brought in a halftime, right? So still a train beat. I need some snares. So that's basically the gist of what I played. And what were you playing in the bridge over that? Kind of.
I was playing a much more pronounced two-feel. Boom, boom, boom. I can't remember the notes. I have to learn the tune again. Boom, 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 and then it releases to something longer.
Yeah, that's right.
With the harmony, so like the first half is more driving, and then it kind of dials back a little bit.
Yeah. So, there's a couple of those tunes like Carry Me, which starts the record, more of like a, we have those kind of broken two feels where we're playing boom, 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 right? So, those choices, like leaving out one note, are huge in the scope of things, right? So, like for, I tell students, like, don't take the little things for granted. They're huge. Like in the scope of that tune, if you and I just played boom, chicka, boomka, chicka, boomka, chicka, boom the whole time, it wouldn't have that air and that breath that the tune has, right?
Right.
So that one, and there's a couple things I definitely want to talk about, but I'm going to play that track for a second. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to put on a piece of it. Maybe I'll just play along. Snares again. This is where we were leaving it out, right?
Baby, try to understand. I'm a working
Oh, I was leaving it out. You played
I'm
through.
just playing it straight too. Yeah.
man since I was 18.
Oh, I'm the genius. Holy. All right. So, well,
Absolutely.
I was trying to let that tune breathe by leaving it out so that it wasn't. And actually, I'm kind of following the lyrics again, right? Dun, 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 dun. Boom, chicka, chicka, dun, dun, dun. Boom, chicka, chicka, dun, chicka, dun. And then in the changes, we bring it back. I bring it in. And I line up with you.
Right.
And then we go back to that sort of for those verses. So again, it's like the little things that we kind of try to bring to the table with this thing. Now, on this record, we got to work with Larry Campbell, which was super fun, first of all. So Larry Campbell, like when you think of him, what's like the big, who would be the first artist you think of?
For me, it's Levon Helm, Dylan.
Right. So
Yeah.
not too shabby a resume, right? 10 years, right, with Dylan, I think. Is that what he said? 10 years?
I think it was 8 years with Dylan and longer with Levon.
Yeah, with Levon.
But
But
he was Levon. He was the music director, I think, in both bands,
right.
and produced Levon's Grammy-winning records, the last two records.
Yeah. So, he's like a perfect fit for producing Roger stuff because, he has that songwriter sensibility, but he brings in sort of, this sort of, I don't know, I almost want to say like mountain music feel. I don't know, like with all he's such a great fiddle player and pedal steel and all the stuff that he brought in that he played.
Mandolin.
Like, just hearing these amazing parts. And then he was really, would inspire us to kind of find, what was going to suit the song the best. But we were really aligned, I think, with him. There was never a point where we were like, oh, man, what is he trying to come up with?
Right.
It's like.
No, totally not. Yeah.
Yeah, everything was on the money. And I'm going to bring up a couple of specifics, but I think I want to tell one funny story. We were working on percussion overdubs, and there's this one tune where, like, I don't know, I laid down a bunch of stuff, and then he was like, hey, man, I want you to do a shaker on this in this area. And he goes, you got a shaker? I throw him a shaker, and he goes to play the shaker part, and the beads weren't he didn't get them moving in the right way, and he goes, this thing's broken, and he tossed the shaker out, which is funny because when you play slow tempos where you're trying to get eighth notes, now 1 and 2 and 3, you really have to keep the motion really wide and open. And it's funny because, people take it for granted, like, oh, it's just a shaker, come on. but it's it's hard to get things totally pinned down. So one of the funny moments for me was like he's like, this thing's broken, and he just tossed the shaker out of the way. But I wanted to kind of talk about The War Is Over, because that track, man, and we did play that live a few times, right?
Yeah, we've played it. Yeah.
There's a great picture, man. I wish I could bring it up right now, but talk about this. Do you remember about this?
Yeah. You need one of the, yeah, he was very specific. You need one of those big blue water cooler jugs.
Yeah, he goes,
and like
you got one of
number
those
4 or something, like gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the type of gravel and the type of bottle.
Right.
And like, so we're tracking this tune, and it's like, Roger, do you have the bottle? And we're like, what the hell is with this bottle? Like, what's going on? Right. And then the great thing is that, we put too many rocks in it, and he's like, no, we got to dump some out. And then we got it to the right thing. And then we actually took this and mic'd it in the bathroom with 2 microphones in Roger's bathroom, which is like tiled in the studio. And you can pretty much hear it because I have reverb on that mic back there. But so we were going for that. Right. So that tune's kind of interesting because I basically played just feet and some mallets, really no regular grooves, and then the bottle of rocks and maybe a shaker overdub somewhere. But I had a mallet on this cymbal with the chain, the floor tom, the feet, and then a cabasa. A shekere was the other sound. So I had 2 different sounds. Now, so like on that tune, you were playing interesting stuff.
I played a fretless bass on that.
Yeah. So talk about like that. I mean, coming up with parts for that tune, that was really was a trip, right?
This whole project, like the previous record we did with Roger, we worked this music out, man. We toured it, we had all the parts dialed in. We just kind of went in and played it down,
That's true.
And
that's true.
This one, the big difference, and frankly, I'll be honest. I mean, I was really nervous about this, like, because we didn't even know what we were going to play.
Right, we didn't get demos.
We had no arrangements, nothing done. We learned a lot of this. We would sit down, the 2 of us, Larry playing guitar and Roger, and we'd learn a tune.
Yeah.
And then we'd go in and play it.
That was it.
And then, learn the next tune, sit down and rehearse and work out stuff, go in and play it. And then it was 5 days of that.
That was a great experience, first of all, but a great way to record a record, because think how spontaneous that is.
Exactly.
Compared
it's
to
very old school.
Yeah, that's very old school, right? Like instead of, like when we did the other record, you're right. We toured it, we played it a whole bunch. We had those tunes dialed in. We just came in and sort of played through all the tunes. We almost produced the record ourselves practically. We just played, right? Then,
in retrospect, I think maybe I lost something because of that.
Yeah, I'm agreeing 100%. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Before we talk any more about it, let me just play the tune a little bit. Let's see.
All right. I'm gonna go grab my fretless while you play.
Yeah, man.
In the winter of 1919, from the port of Archangel, a regiment marched through the frozen north in the general direction of hell. Misled by their majors, betrayed by command, their bodies shrunk down to the bone. Wounded men froze to death, waiting for help, help that was too slow to come. Pray for the soldier who stood on the line, a century beneath Turkish beach, not one bit of land inside. No, the refugees searched for one glimpse of hope.
Yeah. It's pretty deep, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
musically, I mean, lyrically, it's deep too.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of another time. You know, like it doesn't feel like anything now. It feels like another time, that tune to me. Like I feel like you go on a journey with that tune.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that, or is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, I was going to I was going to talk about when the bottle part comes up, but it's like, who asked the question? Somebody was like, "Is the bottle?" Well, maybe we should. Let me see.
It's in the
It's in the bridge.
Right.
And that rolling dark sea capsized their dreams into
It's coming up after this chorus, right?
as well.
Yes.
Pray for the family that runs for their lives, seeking some kindness or cover. Hardest to kill is the will to survive, but the war is already over. The war is already over.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, somebody had asked the question, is the bottle of rocks, it sounds like throwing dirt on the top of a wooden casket, right?
Right. Wow, that's very cool. Yeah.
And it's like, whoa,
All right.
yeah, that could definitely be that, you know? Like I was thinking it's like, you know, somebody digging. I guess that makes sense. The war is already, I don't know, it all ties in, right?
Right.
But so this was kind of a very creative little thing that went down. And, you know, once it was on the record,
Now he's got to carry it in the van.
yeah, when we were on the road, it was like, well, now I got to bring this thing everywhere I go. So one of those cool little things that, you know, it kind of, you can't live without it in the song anymore. Like, it wouldn't be right if I took a Roland sample pad and sampled those things,
Right.
you know. And what's kind of cool is, you know, for you drum nerds and stuff, it's like, it's really a hybrid kit. I wish I could have really set it up. Maybe in the future live stream, we're going to bring Roger in. I'll set up the hybrid because it's, you know, this side is percussion, and then it's like a small drum set. So there's a lot of djembe and bottles of rocks and things like that happening. Lots of shakers. But like for you playing that tune, you know, that warm fretless stuff is so beautiful, man. The bass parts on that. So just talk about that for a moment.
A lot of the bass parts that I came up with for this, if they weren't just the two feel thing, they were counter melodies.
Right.
You know, so like. So that's what's kind of going on under the verses. Then that pre-chorus, it's just fifths. You know,
Just drop your level just a pinch.
what's that?
Do me a favor. Just drop your level just a pinch.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
bass
yeah.
is a little hotter than the other one. So.
Yeah.
Is that better?
It's a little better. Yeah. I think you can even come down a little bit. I'm watching the level on OBS. It's a little. Yeah.
That
So-
to me was like Wild West. You know.
Yeah, for
No.
sure. Yeah.
But even then, there was times just like I hold a note for four measures.
I think in the very beginning, weren't you playing upright, and then it was like, the decision was made to go to the fretless?
That could be. I forgot that.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
I think
I
so.
think that's right.
'Cause
I
I
just bought
remember
a bunch of stuff.
we worked this one out before we went into the big room. We were in like the playroom, hanging out, just the
Right.
four of us sitting around, kind of crafting the main part. And you know, it's kind of cool that the drums are just doing kind of this.
Right. That's the heartbeat of the whole thing. Yeah.
And then, you know, this is on top. And then I have that muted floor tom. I'll do it on the snare since this is muted, but it's kind of a fun, you know, little approach to the tune.
Yeah. Larry would say, Jimmy, give me that shaky, shaky.
Nice.
Shaky, shaky.
Yeah, give me the shaky, shaky, right?
Shaky, shaky.
I can't use the language, but I loved Larry's. Every time we nailed a track, Larry's responses were so great.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I just have to say, John Gill just said the fretless bass has a really warm tone, by the way.
Thank Beautiful instrument.
Lucia's in here saying this is so cool. Scott Kettner was in here earlier, I think, when we were having like a little bit of wackiness in the beginning. Things got better. Let's see. Sounds great. Let's see. What's up, Jim? There's lots of what's ups. My mom was in here, or is in here. Roger Street Friedman is in here, and he said, you guys are pretty. Oh, he said, you guys are pretty photogenic on camera. Yeah. John Gill says, yes, best to know the song and the lyrics. Know as many measurements are in each section of the song. Oh, yeah, right. It helps you to really know the form by knowing lyrically what's going on. Rocco says, hi. Stephen B. Rock 23 says, rock and roll. So, yeah, man, like, I just want to check it where we're at in the stream because time flies. Yeah, we're at like almost 1:45 already. But just before like we continue on with the tune for a minute, I just want to really quick couple things. So one is Matthew runs a great school in Seacliff called the Woodshed, right, of Seacliff.
Right.
Teaching bass, string instruments, right? Normally there would be ensembles and like a big string concert, right, every year, which because of COVID, that's canceled. But you are running Zoom lessons, right? Online lessons. And
we are doing Zoom lessons. Right. So violin, viola, cello, bass, guitar, piano, bass guitar. And normally we would have a Summer Strings Rock Fest this time of year. It's about, Jimmy's done that with me, and that's about 80 kids, teenagers, you know, and we I score like Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke, or a tune like that, or some Dave Matthews or stuff, and we do it on a big stage with light show and the whole thing, and they kill it, you know, like it's
that we did it Westbury, right?
Right, Roger was feature artist. That
Roger,
year, right?
and you wrote string arrangements for some of Roger's tunes, which was insane. So it's like, you know, the from the last record, kind of the more, you know, grooving sort of bluesy rock stuff with full orchestra. Like it was pretty amazing, right?
Right. That stuff's on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look up Summer Strings Rock Fest.
Okay. Cool.
It'll come up.
Oh, there's a feedback happening, huh? I wonder what the feedback is.
I'm not hearing that here. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we're talking, it's not there. Kettner, you're in here. Let me know when the feedback happened. Was it when there's drums or bass or tracks, or is it when we're talking? So let us know, you know, when you were hearing that, because that's something that we do not hear it at all over on our side. So not sure why that's happening. And, you know, it could have something to do with the Zoom feed. Wow. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff has come in since we were talking. But so your school not really doing the ensemble thing right now, right? So
unfortunately not. No.
Yeah.
And I really miss that, you know. It's tough time. You know, for not being able, this is so great just to be able to be together like this. Like I haven't I haven't been with any musicians, I feel like, for so long.
Right.
And it's stuff for the kids too. They're all, I mean, this is ultimately a social art form. We're meant to be together. And,
Yeah.
So we're doing Zoom lessons, and when we're able to be together again, they're going to come out and we're like, ready to shred, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned the school because Matthew's got this great, really amazing space. I think you did a great job with the space. We got to shoot a video for Roger there to support the record, and it was pretty funny. We brought in a video crew, a sound crew. We set up it as a venue, right? And I happened to be sick as a dog that day, really sick. But and this was right before COVID hit, right? This is like in March, right? I think it was March, wasn't it?
February.
Oh, it was February.
February, yeah.
And so I had like a high fever. But I think we played really well, and we did a bunch of the tunes live. And and so that was really fun. So Matthew's place, when things get back to normal, doubles as a venue, which is great. By the way, Steve, our fiddle player / harmonium player / keyboards and background vocals, is in the chat, which I keep bringing up the chat window. Let me bring it up in the screen because I think it'll be better as an overlay. Although, see, if when it's over there, I can't read it. But Steve is in there. By the way, I want to say hello to Michael Abruzzo, who's in here, who's a childhood friend of mine. Michael and I used to hang out when we were kids, so it's amazing seeing you in the live stream. I saw you in one of my other live streams, I think, unless I just dreamt that. I may have dreamt it. I don't know. So let me just go back to that chat window. So I think it's easier just to pull the chat over because I can't read the way I have it set up. I need 2 monitors at my drum set, and this is like ridiculous. My setup gets crazier and crazier. But so just back to the music for a few more minutes because we're not going to have a whole lot of time to do much more. But what would you say is sort of, well, no, I'm going to answer that for you. I think you and I came up with some very creative stuff on Outcasts. And I think it was mostly you originally because you came up with that whole bass part, right? So could you play your intro to Outcasts? Do you have to switch basses?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to put the tune on.
Okay.
And I'm
right here. I'll do.
All right, cool. I'm going to put the tune on for a second. So Outcasts of Love, which we actually played this at my book release, I'm pretty sure. Here's the tune. And I want drummers to tell me where I ripped off part of the chorus. No, I know the comments are covering me up, Roger.
There are times when he thinks that he must be the bad guy, the most unwanted enemy of the state, cast adrift by the cold shoulder of another winter, cut by the lonely
So that's my first part. Now,
across his face.
I want the chorus to get played, and then we're going to talk. Pre-chorus.
Floods apart. The plains flood with loss. For the outcast, the outcast,
Here.
outcast of love,
What drummers?
the outcast of love.
Phil Collins.
There are times when she thinks
Chester Thompson or Phil Collins, right?
Wrong. No, but so here's the thing. So like, first of all, that tune is awesome. Outcast. Again, that sounds like to me really a hybrid of stuff, right? Now play that bass part that you started with. Yeah, now. So the cool thing about that is you do the intro on your own, and then we come in on that sort of like triplet figure in the beginning, right?
Right.
So it's like I come in with the unison thing with you. This is the foot part. So I'm almost playing a pseudo rock samba thing sort of with that tune, right? So it's kind of, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels very sort of like Wild West, right?
Yeah.
So, and so the verses I'm playing this thing. And then the pre-chorus, I just made it more melodic. I go. And then we have that cool little stop going into the chorus. And then we play this. So play your part in the chorus. After we say Outcast of Love. So it's that triplet thing. So I was like, oh. So I took the Wild West thing and I put in, what is this? Drummers, come on. I'm going to look in the chat in a second.
Oh, is that Ringo?
Yeah. So Ticket to Ride found its way into the Western thing. I'm going to cover up my face for a second with the chat just so I can see. I want to see if somebody said Ticket to Ride. And by the way, there's a big delay in the time that the chat happens and the time that when I say something, by the time it comes back in the chat, we're like on to the next thing. But so Ticket to Ride. So I answered it for everybody. I didn't see anybody saying it from earlier. But so that's kind of an interesting thing, like getting that whole triplet vibe happening. And it made the tune really different, right? And it's about the song. I mean, it's really a vocal tune, but we're trying to bring something a little different, something out of the box, right?
Yeah.
And I think we really accomplished that on this whole record. There's a little bit of everything on the record, right? You know, from sort of poppy driving rock, you know. But there's a lot of tunes where we're playing some really different stuff, I think. So and everything that you brought to the table is really interesting bass work.
Thank you.
So this, for me, this was a pleasure. Like doing this record was like one of the nicest experiences in the studio.
Me too, absolutely, hands down. That's like one of the peaks of my career for sure.
And as much as I love playing live, making a record where you really, you know, you walk into the studio, you don't know what to expect. We never really heard the tunes before that much, if any. I mean, there's a couple tunes that we were playing and we changed them up a lot. Right. But most of the stuff we had never heard before.
Right.
And it was just like, let's go. Let's make some parts, you know. So that was really, really fun. I wish we could play together because really that would be amazing. The technology isn't quite there yet. However, this Jam Kazam thing, like Vincent's been testing this with his boys. Not testing it, he's been using it with his boys. They got it to work. So there's definitely a possibility. I don't know if I could bring Jam Kazam into a live stream, but that would be really cool. So maybe that's something we have to put a little time into and test it. Mm-hmm. There's a blue chat feed over your face. I know, I was doing that on purpose. Sorry, guys. They keep saying like that I was dropping the chat window on my own face. We got 5 minutes. Like, what would you say in the from the record? What would be the one you're the most proud of? Stan Moore's in here. Yo, baby, what's up? What's up, Stanton? Bob Sears. Hey, man. Always good to see Bob. Also sounds like Time of the what in the Zombies? What? Wait, hold on. Time of the Season. Oh, the Zombies. Time of the Season. What time? What tune was he talking about? Oh, I guess Outcast. Maybe. I don't know. So, all right. So back to the question. So what would you say?
That's an interesting question. I never thought about it that way before, but I think maybe in terms of like really different, compositionally, maybe War is Already Over might be that. I really like Lessons a lot. There's a bunch of tunes on here, but then I also really enjoy like Last Train to Babylon.
Yeah.
That's just got a great feel, like.
I actually opened one of my live streams with that one, Last Train, because
And Carry Me is fantastic, I think.
Yeah. Carry Me is really cool.
Yeah.
And the ballads are really cool as always, right? It's really funny, like, go ahead.
I mean, I can't find one. I'm looking at the list and go, Over and Over is a great song.
Yeah.
Give It Another Go is a great song. I mean, what we haven't said is Roger is the creator of, and we could be, we could play the coolest stuff in the world, but if the song's just not there, it's just doesn't matter, And,
that is a very good point. And to I made this mistake, but I didn't have the graphic of the record up here, but I want to show everybody. This is on iTunes, Roger Street Friedman. The record is Rise, which is right underneath that. And, we're just really proud of this album. So check out Rise on, I think it's on it's on every streaming platform. So it's on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you stream on. But definitely get a hold of Rise. The tunes are really, really nice. The reason we're in this band we've been in this band for a long time, right? I mean, I would say.
Yeah. You've been in a really long time, you were there before me.
That's a whole nother story.
All right.
Like Roger and I working together years ago, and then there was a giant hiatus for the band, and then came back together and started making records again. But why do we keep coming back with Roger, or why are we sticking with Roger for the amount of time that we do, even through a pandemic? Is because the guy writes amazing songs.
Absolutely.
And he's a great person.
Right. It's like I said before, the band is like family, and we love being together, we love playing together, but the material is so strong, that you really, what's interesting about this record for me is like it's not about chops at all.
No.
We practice all this stuff, but it's like turning all that off, and it's just about making music, and what was called for quite often was just simple and pristine, and but the material was so deep, musically, and Roger can play too. Roger's, a really strong guitar player and a different kind of guitar player. He doesn't play the same stuff everybody plays.
Right.
Different tunings and weird capos that only touch a few strings and,
Right. He's got those sort of cut capos, right?
Yeah.
That's a different thing. I never had seen that before.
Like Joni Mitchell's like that, all these
right.
different tunings and different sounds, really unique. And yes, Roger, I just put you in the same sentence with Joni Mitchell. But so for us as musicians, it really is just so much to dig into, and
Definitely.
And it gives me great pleasure just to play. I do a lot of singing on Roger's music too, so that's been a whole other side of it for me, is playing and singing at the same time. I haven't never done that much of that before.
Right.
And that's a real pleasure for me. It's just and
that in the beginning was probably a challenge, right? To play bass parts that are a lot of the time, sort of you have to think about them. They're involved, especially on the last record, and then to sing harmonies and sometimes unison with Roger, right?
Right.
That's got to be a challenge. I mean, I'm not a singing drummer. Vincent LaRussa is a singing drummer, like where he sings lead vocals and plays drums at the same time. Anybody that plays and sings at the same time, I'm always amazed. But especially bass players and drummers and,
It's really hard, and I by no means feel like I've got it mastered. I mean, I'm getting better and better at it each year, but it's more secure, I should say, there are people who can just do crazy, like Esperanza Spalding or somebody like that, who could just play ridiculous bass stuff and, stuff that were just any bass player would struggle to try and play.
Right.
And then singing like this really crazy stuff on top of that at the same time.
And, on the other side of the coin of that, stylistically, look at Geddy Lee. I mean, there's a guy that was singing complicated stuff, playing complicated stuff, as well as playing pedals and before, it's same deal, right? It's really crazy. So
I think it's a skill, like if you just do it over and over and over again, it kind of, it's like splitting your mind, but like Geddy Lee, that was his gig, right? He just did that all the time. You get good at what you do all the time.
Yeah.
It comes down to.
So, by the way, there's in the book, there's play-alongs from Roger's record. So Puffs of Smoke and Shoot the Moon are in here. And so there's drumless tracks of a couple of those. And that's more of, wouldn't you say it's more of like sort of R&B, rock and blues kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Like here, I'll play just the beginning of Shoot the Moon. So totally different vibe, right, on this tune.
Horns.
Plus the big background vocals, like a little bit, with the female vocalists and stuff.
Horns, the whole thing.
Horns, yeah. So that's a whole different ball of wax. But really fun, and it's kind of, it's been a great gig because we've played everything from sort of more country type stuff to the deep stuff that's on Rise, including the title cut, and then sort of just fun rocking, tunes like Life is Hard,
jams.
Stuff like that. Yeah. We got to wrap it up, but I was going to say, like, in the early days, we do this tune, what's that?
Gone, Gone, Gone.
Gone, Gone, Gone. So, right? So, in the early days, we played like a groove over that. It was like, right? That kind of thing. And then we turned it into sort of the unison, right?
Right.
Really fun. Tight stuff. So hopefully, we're dying to get back out there. Hopefully this band will get back out there as soon as things quiet down. Look for in the next couple of weeks, Roger's going to be on here live with me. Maybe we'll bring Matthew in during that. But Roger will be in here. We'll be talking about the process from his point of view, from the songwriter's point of view, and what he's expecting from his drummer on this stuff. And, guys, I just want to mention, besides Matthew having his school, and he's a great teacher. So if you're in that area, if you're in the Seacliff area, if you're out on Long Island, if you're anywhere in the world, since we're in a pandemic, you can study with Matthew online. So look for Matthew. He's got the Woodshed. It's online. On his website, right?
Seacliff Music is the seacliffmusic.com is the website, and seacliffmusic@gmail is the email.
Okay, great.
And if anybody wants to be in touch, please do.
Yeah, my student Vincent, who plays drums and bass, is studying bass with Vincent and drums with me. It's pretty interesting. So there's that.
To replace us both.
Yeah, exactly. And look for Roger's record Rise, which is on iTunes and streaming everywhere, Spotify everywhere. Hopefully maybe in the fall we'll be out on tour again. We had to cancel everything, as everybody has. Stanton Moore knows, Scott Kettner, all my buddies that are like touring musicians are going through this. Which brings me to my next point. There is a virtual tip jar online. So, for all these musicians that are struggling, and not out there playing, if you like what we do, there's a virtual tip jar. You can throw anything in there if it so behooves you. And check out my next live stream, which is on Thursday, which is the Hand Technique Workshop. I'll be doing all kinds of good hand stuff, lots of new material. Lucia Rose, who's in here, came up with a flam routine that I'm going to debut on Thursday. And then I'll be live streaming on Monday with another bass player friend of mine, Calvin Bennett from Giant Flying Turtles. And then on the 13th, Roger Street Friedman will be in here with me, and we'll be talking about the process of from the songwriter's point of view for making that record. So thank you for tuning in tonight, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Matthew, who's been an awesome guest tonight.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was really super fun. And, hopefully if we get this Jam Kazam thing figured out, maybe we'll do some live playing in a live stream, which would be crazy. That would be insane. And check out Scott Kettner's live stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Scott Kettner's World Drumming page on Facebook. I've been working with Scott Kettner and helping produce his show. And check out Stanton Moore's live streams on Wednesday. I've been helping produce his show a bit. Stanton's kind of on his own finally now, but Stanton Moore is doing awesome. He's doing some really beautiful stuff and master classes online. So, we'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. I'm going to roll the credits if I could find it on my little stream deck. Here we go. Good seeing you guys. Closing.